why implementing advanced technologies, we're shaking up not only commerce, we're shaking up, like you said, healthcare, legal system, the whole fabric of society, right? The decision-making process is actually what lies in economic decisions and political decisions, in everyday decisions, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think it's not just the topic is a lot bigger. It's not just about transparency and explainability. It's also about accountability. So if something goes wrong, I think like the issue we have with technology, but in particular with AI, is that regulations and standards are lacking in pace. They're not catching up with the pace of the way AI is being developed. So once hopefully we always hope that that things don't go wrong, but we know that in reality things go wrong in practice. So when something goes wrong, we need to have like a clear accountability in terms of who is accountable. So if we take the example of a driverless car, so let's assume for the worst scenario, we have a driverless car and it's involved in an accident and someone has died from that accident. So who's accountable from a legal perspective on that incident? Is it the manufacturer who has manufactured the car? Is it the AI or the IT company who has developed the AI software? Or is it the company or the individual who has trained that AI system? Who is accountable? And from my perspective is there isn't one person or one entity who's accountable. That accountability has to be split along the chain of that whole operation. So someone will be accountable at the software side, the manufacturer. We need that kind of regulation or a system or a standard that make that clear, because right now we don't have it.
I'm with you on this, Djamila, right? And even if I'm not with you, the SaugaTalks is about getting experts to speak about hot topics, and I'm here to listen to your opinion today. So thank you for sharing this. Let's jump into kind of human impact, because people still not clear how AI is taking our lives. It's taking our jobs? Is it replacing us all over? What's your opinion? How do we live with AI going forward? Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of, obviously some of it is true. Some of it is kind of like myth, because we have a lot of, hype around AI. So for me, the way I see AI is that different types of AI. The AI we currently have is what I call the narrow AI. So it's an AI that is only good at one thing. So for example, you have an algorithm predicting fraud at financial services company, and it can only predict fraud if you take it from its environment and you ask that system to do something else. It cannot do it. So this is why it's narrow. It can only do and perform within certain limitation. Then there is what we most of us AI practitioners aspire to in the future, what we call general AI. So this is kind of the fancy AI where AI becomes intelligent and so on. And there are like labs who works on usually the big labs, like the Google lab, the Facebook lab, the Microsoft, IBMs and so on, and some individuals like me who are interested in the research. So that kind of like general AI, we're very, very, very far from reaching it. And then there is a third category, which is kind of the super intelligence. For me, this is the kind of the Hollywood type of movies where we see kind of robots and computers taking over, and we become the slaves, and they become the master, the masters. And I don't believe in that word. So it's for me, it's between narrow and the general intelligence, which is we still far behind. In terms of the job implications, so obviously there are impacts from the deploying AI in different sector. So AI is being developed, especially to automate boring, redundant type of task. The type of task that can be done, are done like several times, thousands, hundreds of times a day. So we will definitely see a decrease, a loss of jobs in this type of roles. But at the same time, we will see an increase of different type of jobs. So we will lose the jobs that needs like the repetition, almost you are not really thinking, you are only kind of, executing a procedure. But then we will see an increase in jobs where they need people interaction, high, level of, cognition, activities. These type of activities, we will need more of humans doing them because the machines wouldn't be able to do them. We will lose the repetitive one. We will potentially gain the, the more cognitive, the more, people interaction one. Whether this balance in or out, it depends in which country you are and which sector you are. For example, also it's not, the impact is not going to impact every single one the same one. So for example, women may be more impacted than men. So if we take the example of financial services or banks, for example, I can't remember the exact, the studies and, the reference, but there have been studies that have been made in financial services that shows, particularly at banks, that most of the repetitive work, at clerks and, this type of, work that gets repetitive and, procedure, most of those jobs are done by women. So if we are going to use those repetitive work, there will be more women who will lose their job in the financial sector. So this is where you cannot give like a definitive answer. So there will be some losses, there will be some gain, and then it depends on which sector you are and which country you are. That will, kind of like give more, the outcome, whether you will be impacted or not.